So now what we are going to do, we are just going to, right now the session is of psychosocial care, which we will take on the last day morning, because psychosocial care comes later on. So we will take on the last day morning. Right now what we will do is we will talk about something about the plan. The last exercise, the HVC that we were doing, we will talk about the plan. What exactly is the plan about? Then after tea we will take on the training portions. Right now I am asking what we were doing here. How many of you did understand the process?
Life-saving plan.
It was the life-saving plan. The basic that you can utilize the golden hour that we were talking about. This was basic which everybody can do. You need not be a doctor for this. For a little higher thing you need to be a doctor, but for this you need not to be a doctor. You just have to learn the art how to do it. And that is what is planned. Learn the art how to do it. Your plan basically should talk about are you able to see this?
No.
Black I think would be needed. This? Not yet? So I'll talk about that. I'll talk about that. Your plans should answer 4 questions. What, when, how, who. Whatever plan you are making, whatever plan, be it disaster management, be it any plan, these 4 questions should be answered by your plan. What, when, how, who. These are the 4 questions that is to be answered. Now when we talk about disaster management, we all know what is disaster management? We all know what is disaster management? We have been doing it for the 2 days. Today is the 3rd day. Amal, I need a black pen. What is disaster management? Tell me. Organization and management of available resources for what?
Mitigate, prevent disasters.
Rather you can say to save life. Mitigation, preparedness, prevention, everything is aimed at saving life. So disaster management is basically all the activities to achieve our goal, the optimal utilization of available resources to achieve a goal, and goal is to save life. Goal is to save life. So our entire courses that we are doing, entire thing that we will be doing, entire thing that you will be doing in your service, that will be aimed at saving life. So with this mask you can use this. So now, when we talk of disaster management, activity is what we will be doing. So when we are making a plan, disaster management plan, right now I am coming down to disaster management plan. What is to be done to achieve the aim? Aim is save life. What is to be done to save life? See, you are sitting in this room. Let us talk of this room. You are sitting in this room. What is to be done if life is to be saved in this room? Say, this is the life, you have to save this life. What is to be done? In your place, in your home, God forbid if something happens, what will you do?
Immediate hospitalization.
Immediate hospitalization, okay. Accepted. Anything else what you want to do? To save anybody, any of your loved ones, if God forbid something happens, what will you do?
Give some first aid.
Give first aid, hospitalization. That is first aid basically. It's basic life support that you are doing. First aid is part of this only. Yes, anything else? Think of, if somebody, say in your office or your loved one, if he or she falls sick, what will you do?
Call for an ambulance.
See, that you have already taken, that hospitalization. The hospitalization is either you are taking, you become an ambulance, or you call an ambulance. You take in your car, that becomes an ambulance, or you call an ambulance. That is basically a hospitalization that you are doing. Anything else that you want to do?
Consolation. Psycho-consolation.
Psycho-consolation, okay. But for the victim, psycho-consolation is not for the, psycho-consolation is for somebody who is other than the victim. I am talking about the person who is ill. Hospitalization is one, basic life support is one. What else you can do?
We will provide the available medicines to the victim.
That's all comes in the health part. That all comes in the health part. What you are doing, hospitalization or first aid, health part. Anything else? You think anything else? Can you do?
Ask him to be bold.
Ask him to be bold. Okay. Tell me. Think. Prevent all the persons around. Okay.
So I will definitely pray to God.
Pray to God. Good. So, loved ones, pray to God is needed.
Prevent him from further injury or
Stabilizing the situation. So, what activity are you doing? You are providing health services. You are praying to God. That means consolation and everything. That all spirituality and all that, they come in. Another thing, you are stabilizing the situation. You are stabilizing the situation so that the further condition doesn't deteriorate. It stables somewhere. Now, when you are doing it, all these things, when you find that he or she is ill, right? So that means you find the ailment. Illness. The ailment right now, what we are talking is illness. So you are finding the illness. That means once the person is ill, what we do? We do this. Who will do it? Who will provide this? Who will provide health services?
Hospital.
Hospital. Near and dear. trained person. All these can provide this. Near and dear will provide this. And who will provide the stabilization of the ailment, the illness? Who will provide the stabilization of the condition? Doctors? Doctors will say stabilize, whatever medicine, etc. So now you have answered these three. How will it be done? How these things will be done? The activities that you are doing, how these things will be done. Health services, how that will be provided. One thing Madam said, call ambulance. Call ambulance. How it will be done? Call ambulance. Another thing, what you were telling, consoling other ones. Consoling who are other ones. So that they don't aggravate the situation. If somebody of my family is ill, it is but natural that I am psychologically disturbed. Because he or she is ill. I am psychologically disturbed, and under that psychological disturbance, I may create a condition wherein that person is not being able to take to the hospital. I may create a position. So the stabilization of the situation, that is another. How that is stabilization? That is what he was telling. Consoling others. What Madam was telling. Keeping them away. How that is to be done? Keeping them away. Call the ambulance. Take them to the hospital. Get somebody to console others and be at home. News update of the condition to the family. That is very necessary. Every time, otherwise what happens? Every 5-10 minutes you will get a call. What happens? Kya hua? What is there? So 99% of your time will go in answering the same question again and again. So news update to the family. Take care of that. News update to the family. Take care of the phone calls. I am at the hospital, I am with the person, I am giving you the update, inform everybody who are concerned. Otherwise, if you are in the hospital, it is but natural that you will every time receive a call. And at certain point of time, it might be a possibility that doctor is there, you will not be allowed to take the call, and panic will start. At the other end, who is calling? The panic will start. What happened? Nobody is picking up the call. What has happened? What is the information? That mind will start thinking. So, news update. Now, related to disaster management, what we are doing. When is to be done? What is to be done? We more or less know that we have to prepare, we have to mitigate, we have to respond. A broader things. I am not right now going vertically. Preparedness, mitigation, response is what is to be done in disaster. Right? When is to be done? There comes when the things will be done. You should know the things, then only you can do it. How to know those things? See, here you are knowing the illness. And what about disaster? What is the illness in disaster? What is the illness in disaster?
When some hazard happens.
Hazard happens. That is the ailment. When some hazard happens. See, disaster will only happen when hazard will be there. If there is no event, nothing. You are doing CPR. Why? Because there is a threat. He might die. There is a threat he or she might die. So you are providing CPR. Similar, if there is no hazard, why to talk about disaster? So you have to identify the hazards. How you can identify the hazards? Let us take this example again. This room, we are sitting. We are sitting in this room. For how many days?
5 days.
5 days.
What is the day today?
3rd day.
Third day. Have you identified hazards in this room? Let us have an exercise on this. Identify hazard in this room. Only one exit is there. Let us identify one exit. Closed AC room. Closed AC room. Communicative disease can happen. So that means hazard is communicative disease. One exit, what can be the hazard? Stampede.
Short circuit.
One exit, stampede.
Short circuit.
Short circuit. That means if I go a bigger one, then fire can be a hazard. Examples can be many. The reasons can be short circuit, can be anything. Anything else? AC?
Okay.
AC gas. Gas leakage. Earthquake.
Lightning.
Lightning can strike this room?
Maybe happen.
Okay, let us take this.
Collapse. Collapse of the multi-story.
Collapse. You telling something? Collapse.
Cyclone may
Cyclone in this room, can it happen? I am talking about this room only. Yes, tell me. Tell me, identify the hazard in this room. What is the size of this room? What is the size of this room? Not exact size. I am not asking exact size. We are not engineers. Just a simple example. What is the size of this room? Is it smaller than the society? Is it smaller than the society?
Yes.
This room is smaller than a society? In this room only.
A snake may appear. A snake.
Yes. Panic will lead to this. So, what I am telling is, In such a small room, this can all add on also. Something can be added on. In such a small room. We are not gone out. We have not gone out of this room. We have not seen anything outside world. We are just in this room. And we have identified so many hazards in this room. This is how we are going to do it for the area that we are in. List out. The first analysis part is list out what can happen. See, you have said snake. We can take it. List out what comes to your mind. Whatever comes to your mind, list that out. Once you list this out, say you have listed this out, we have 6, 7 hazards we have listed. We take a snake bite also, we take a snake bite also. We have listed out everything. Now what we should do? To zero in on any, what we should do? How do you zero in on your subject? What subject is to be taken by your ward, by your son, by your daughter? How do you zero in that? How do you identify that this subject is good for my children? How do you identify? Prioritization. You do prioritization? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Prioritization. Anything else? You are choosing a subject for your son or for your daughter. How will you do that? Ability. Okay. You are choosing a subject, ability. You said something?
Resources.
Prioritization.
The resources in our
Resources. And how are you choosing the subject of your son? I'm not talking about disaster management right now. Because we should not every time talk of something bad. Let us have something good.
by identifying the helping hands.
Result.
Sir, identifying the helping hands.
Helping hands. That means support.
Job opportunity.
Job opportunity. So you will see, there may be many, you will see all these things while choosing the subject of your daughter or son. Right? Now, let us come to here. Will this do? Here will the interest be linked? What other thing? Ability can be linked?
Yes, sir. Capacity.
Prioritization can be linked? Resources can be linked. Result.
Yes. Yes.
For this result, what I say is, we add on history to that result. History of a hazard. Whether it has happened or not earlier. Result means what is the extent this hazard has created the havoc, the impact. History and result, they go hand in hand. History of a hazard, it has happened. That means if it has happened, it may happen again. You have a history, that means it may happen again. Whatever, see, floods 2018, after I think 1924, that was 2018, you faced the flood of that sort, that extent. But now you have that extent of flood, so it might happen again. May. So that means if you have history, this may happen again. So we have to see the result, the impact of how much was the impact. So our span of vulnerability will be the impact. So this will go here, helping hands. This will also go here, job opportunity. So once you list out, you check out this. Once you list out the hazards, you check out this. Check out the history first, the impact of these hazards. This will help you to prioritize. What was the impact? Landslide in Kerala might be say located to one area, not entire Kerala. One area, two area, three area. So if you are talking of entire area, entire Kerala, what will be your first priority? Your first priority will be floods. So this is how we zero in for hazard identification. We first see the result, we first list out, see the impact and the history, then prioritize. Once you prioritize, let's say in Trivandrum, we say flood. Let us say Trivandrum, flood is the hazard. We have prioritized, then what you will see, who will do the helping hands? Who will do? You have to do the mitigation and response. Who will do the helping hands? Who have the ability to do it? The helping hands. Who are the helping hands? Government people? Schools? Teachers? Health? All these departments, volunteers, NGOs, IT people, college people, all those are helping hands who have the ability. Who have the ability. You put those persons accordingly. How will you do it? Revenue people are very good at coordination. So you put revenue people in the coordination. Health, they are good at providing health services. You put that according to the ability, you put them in the health aspects. Whatever health conditions you have to support. Logistic, transportation, food, material, etc., they will be put in that. So all the resources that you have, according to the helping hands and ability, you are putting it in the right place. Once you put all this, that means your hazard analysis is over. You have identified the resources, you have identified the hazards, you have identified the helping hands, you have identified the places where they have to be prioritized. See, if you put revenue people in health, it will be a disaster. It will be a disaster. You ask somebody who has not gone through this CPR, ultimately the result will be either he will be behind bars or who has put him there, he will be behind bars. Right person, as for the ability, that is what you do when you choose the subject for your children. Ability, interest. You have the ability. Here we don't talk of interest because by virtue of the position, by virtue of your job, you will have to do that. There is no interest in that. You can't say that I am not interested, I will not go. You can't say that. If there is an order, you will have to go. Number one, there is an order, you will have to go. Number two, it's a social cause and we all are made up of that material that as soon as the social thing comes in, we are all one. Something helping, if some help is needed, we all flock together and go. We'll help, we'll help, we'll help, we'll help. So this is how you analyze the hazards. Once you analyze the hazards, then the second thing which comes in, what is that? You are all sitting in groups?
Yes.
You are all sitting in groups?
Yes.
So let us do an exercise. We have identified this. We have identified this. As per this, each of the hazard. How many hazards are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 10 groups. So 3 more hazards are needed. Identify the hazard. Take one hazard from this place. Search for vulnerability in this room. You know vulnerability? You know vulnerability? We have discussed on day 1. We also discussed on day 1 in the evening session. What is vulnerability? We had a question answer session yesterday also on vulnerability. What is vulnerability? Vulnerability basically is the condition of a person to be affected by a hazard. Condition of a person to be infrastructure, property to be affected by a hazard, to be impacted by a hazard. That condition is called vulnerability. So that is why hazard and vulnerability that I was discussing on day 1. If hazard is there and vulnerability is there, if they two mix up, we end up in a disaster risk. If the vulnerability and the hazard they mix up, we end up in a disaster risk. So the condition of person, infrastructure, environment which leads to him or her or infrastructure impacted by a hazard is called the vulnerability. So we'll do an exercise 10 minutes. After that what is the time by now? After that we'll break for tea. 10 minutes exercise. Take one hazard from this. What you have identified, I have not identified. What you have identified, take one exercise, identify the vulnerability in this room. Identify vulnerability in this room. Take one hazard. It's all up to you. I am not giving any hazard. Take one hazard. Identify vulnerability in this room.